My name is Frederic. I'm from the Dow Chemical Company, and I'm pleased to welcome you on this workshop. My colleague Fabienne Torre and myself are very pleased to present this workshop from the Dow Personal Care group. The topic of today's workshop is going to be about textures, with a special focus on textures for hair styling. Okay? Now you may imagine to adapt some of the things you're going to see today to other areas, but essentially what you have on the table are textures for hair styling. So currently, as some of you know probably, the hair styling market is dominated by some functional materials, such as PVP for hair fixative, or carbomer, or texturizing agents. Now the thing is that carbomer gels are very good gels, but they pretty much all look the same, as you know. So the purpose of today is to show you that there's other things you can do in terms of texture by really having some new effects, some funny, sometimes really funny textures to your products. So Dow Personal Care provides a fairly broad range of rheology modifiers that will help you in that particular task. And all the formulations I'm going to demonstrate are available in this little brochure. So I will encourage everyone to come and grab one as soon as possible. There's a limited number. So everything I'm going to show is there. So you have the detail of all the formulation, components, processing instructions to make the styling gel and different formats of products. Yes. So essentially for this first part of the workshop, I'm going to focus on one particular category of thickener called the acrylic rheology modifiers. And in particular, these acrylines, which are anionic rheology modifiers and hydrophobically modified rheology modifiers, because these are products which really give a very broad range of texture for your products. So the first set of samples are hair gels made with different textures, and we'll go one by one on the different gels. Now, when you assess the texture of your gel, you're going to look at different parameters. The first one is going to be the pickup. When you dip your finger in the gel, okay, that's the first element. But then you're going to have all the properties of the spreading. How does the gel behave? Is it very rich? Is it a watery feel? All these parameters are going to be important for your customers. So you have to take all this into account. So I encourage some of you, maybe not all, but at least to start gathering around the table and start looking at these gels. We're going to start with the one which is called the refreshing gel. So the refreshing gel, as you can see, once again I insist you have the detail on the brochure somewhere around here. The refreshing gel is a gel formulated with a rheology modifier called Acrylene 28. And this Acrylene 28 is really very interesting in its texture, because when you touch the gel, it's very elastic. It looks a bit like jelly, for those of you who know jelly. It's very jelly, very elastic, a bit difficult to grab in the first place, but once you grab it and you start spreading it on your hand, you will really understand why I call it the refreshing gel. Because it's very watery, it sort of melts on the skin. So once you're going to prepare to apply your hair styling gel, it's very interesting to have this effect of melting on the skin. So this is really a property of Acrylene 28. At the same time, jelly, elastic, but still easy to spread and very shear thinning. That's really the terminology that is behind in terms of the mechanical property of the gel. So this is very interesting already to generate a type of gel that you wouldn't be able to do with a carbomer. Okay, this kind of effect you would not get from a carbomer, so it's really something very different. Now, I was talking about don't hesitate to come and touch all the gels, and even put your finger. We have some wipes for those of you who wanted to get rid of it. But you will actually find out that the product is not very sticky on the hands, which is another characteristic of these gels. They stick on the hair, which is by definition the function you expect from a hair styling product, but they don't necessarily stick on your hands.
All the same for the bottle.
Yeah, all these are the same, so you can dip your fingers in there.
Very interesting.
Okay, now one thing I mentioned is that this Aculin 28 is a shear thinning polymer. What it means is that it shares two types of behavior: elastic, but at the same time it flows very easily in the gel. Okay, and what you're going to be able to do with that is actually, rather than just formulate a gel in a jar, you will be able to formulate different product formats. So this one is also fairly jelly. Okay, there's a little bit less of thickener than in the jar, but still fairly jelly texture. You can see it doesn't really flow much in the bottle. I don't know if you can see. You can get closer actually to also have a look at these. But despite being fairly jelly, if you start to prime the pump, you can see that it's very easy to spray. So really there's something interesting there about the texture of a gel, which is easily sprayable. So Aculin 28 will really allow you to do this, this particular effect of sprayable gel. Thick but sprayable. Okay? Some of you, if you want to take the samples as well, you are free to take some of the samples, but rather at the end of the demonstration if you don't mind. The next one we're going to look at, which my colleague Fabienne is putting next to the others, is another type of texture which we call the smooth feel. So why smooth feel? We're using in that particular product an Aculin rheology modifier that is called Aculin 88, which is a very good product for the hairstyling gels, really. Very good for different reasons, but the first one, and this is why we are here today, is going to be the texture. So the pickup of that kind of gel is a little bit, it's easier to grab versus the previous one I showed you. Less elastic, better pickup, okay? And now when you spread, I'm not going to put all of that, when you spread, it's a bit richer. So you don't have this watery, refreshing effect that I was describing for the previous gel. This is richer, and even actually, you could even say nearly creamy. Nearly creamy. So you move already to another dimension of the texture of the product. Okay? Yeah, don't hesitate to come and have a...
Because if you don't test,
and dip the finger, because it's difficult to grasp the concept without really touching it. Yeah. So this combination of Aculin 88 with hair fixatives is going to give a really great effect. And for the illustration here, we also have in these gels some hair fixatives from the Dow Personal Care range called the Acudyne hair fixatives. And you see that this combination of Acudyne hair fixatives and Aculin rheology modifiers are giving great clear gels and very nice textures. Okay? Now, another thing you may want to do with your styling gel, and in terms of fine-tuning your texture, would be potentially to have some air bubbles in the gel. Because as you see this one, I haven't put any air bubbles in there, but many people expect air bubbles in the styling gel. So we made another system here, which is the formulation called in the booklet Ultimate Look. So you can look for it in the booklet. Ultimate Look is also using this same Aculin 88. But we've used as well a little bit of help from a co-thickener to really get the nice bubble suspension, not only on the sample like this one, but of course you want this to be stable in all your stability testing, up to 40, 45 degrees, you want the bubble to stay in place. So here we've got a combination of Aculin 88 and a co-thickener which is Laponite. And there's a very small level of Laponite, but you can see it generates a very high yield stress, and you see the texture maybe of the gel. The surface is not smooth, it's really elastic, still easy to pick up, but elastic texture with nice bubble suspension.